So, how do we prevent a purge? Because what's happening, right? If we think about predictive programming and what it does, how movies, music, and media slowly program the subconscious. By the way, that's why they're called programs, television programs, because you download them into your subconscious. So, you do have to be cognizant of what you watch and consume, right? You don't want to be mentally malnourished or deranged. But okay, so the virus programming started in 2017. Um, I wrote about and predicted this when I created Mad Academy, which is where the red is coming from, and when Kendrick Lamar released his damn album. So, the quickest way or the easiest way to program the subconscious is through repetition and music, right? So, Kendrick Lamar was able to do the race war. Kendrick Lamar started the race war. He even said as much, which is like, what? So the whole Black Lives Matter and all that, the race war that's happening, the tension between the cops, some of that was perpetuated by the fact that Kendrick Lamar was heavily popular from 2013 to 2017, right? And then suddenly Kendrick Lamar disappeared and then the world goes into chaos. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a fucking coincidence. Kendrick Lamar is one of the leaders of this mind control bullshit. So in 2017, along with various movies that have been put out for years, right? We had notions of like virus and plagues and all this stuff, and we knew like as these sort of psychological movies were coming out that there was like this chance that like this sort of pandemic would happen, right? That's not surprising to anyone at this point, but you have to remember also in these post-apocalyptic, there are a lot of things that happen in these post-apocalyptic movies. Like, for instance, The Walking Dead. Yes, we are now in the stage of The Walking Dead. There are people who are zombies, which means they are asleep to their own creative subconscious. That's all that means. And to eat their brains just means um, you are taking the creative power away from them. Maybe they don't realize they have it. Maybe they don't believe in it. Maybe et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So then the controllers, which are the hip hop. It has to be hip hop, right? Because hip hop resonates at your heartbeat, and the heartbeat is the blood, is the pump, and the heart beating pumps information throughout the body. Okay, so Nicki Minaj decided to retire, and the next thing you know, in the year 2020, all hell breaks loose, and all these female rappers come out. Now I know people have talked about MK Ultra and the Sex Kitten program and all that. The Sex Kitten program is not actually, this is probably obvious to anyone who is like into this sort of shit, but the Sex Kitten mind control programming is for women. Why though? And for years I had wondered, why the hell would anyone mind control women in the first place? What's the point? It's not to oppress women. It's not actually to objectify women. It's to control men. And I don't mean control them like shackle them. I mean repress their homicidal urges, right? This is how we're keeping everyone under control, because any person who's sufficiently disconnected from the system should be murderous, actually. And I mean, like, to the point where if everyone was on the level of murderousness that I am, because I like had a break and had a disconnect from the system entirely, we would have those type of purges that you've seen on like Rick and Morty, and it would be global, and everyone would fucking die. So the sex kitten programming is targeting women so that they sexually exploit themselves, so that men will continuously use porn to ejaculate, so that their sexual homicidal tendencies will not be realized. Now, if you've watched any of my other previous videos, I've talked about what it means to be a sexual psychopath and an asexual psychopath. People who are more towards asexual psychopathy tend to be on the autism spectrum, like myself, or have some sort of Asperger's. These are now put in the DSM as autism spectrum disorder. Autism and Asperger's aren't necessarily the same, but they do function neurologically very, very similar. And a person who has an inability to communicate through words, an inability to control emotions, or who are generally impulsive will behave destructively and violently. Okay? It doesn't take much to see this. Now, growing up as a child, I was very violent. For some reason that was trained out of me. luckily. I still have the suppressed violence. I've even managed to dig it back up. Like I said in a previous video, I was tapping into the character of Hannibal Lecter and other various psychopaths in history and almost was able to resurge my violent rage. Had I been sexually aroused or sexually in some sort of like manic state, I would have acted on impulse and I could have actually killed someone. So how are people's sexuality being suppressed? Well, first of all, tell a person that they are a gender that they're not. That's one of the ways you can alter and completely sterilize everyone, is convince them that they're a gender that they're not. And now they're getting sexual assignment surgery and confusing their organs, right? How else can you do it? Have them be addicted to porn and alternate reality. So then they're compulsively masturbating and they're releasing all of this built up energy in the means of porn, right? Porn. When the virus hit, right? Which, like I said, this virus is psychological. It isn't physical. It is a psychological virus that is being spread through music or through media or through people's collective, through the collective subconscious of reality. When this virus spread, everyone lost in some ways their will to live because they're no longer defined by the work that was artificially constructed for them, right? Everyone lost their jobs and everything. What's going to happen then? You're going to internally get bored, right? You're going to get bored. You're not going to know what to do with yourself, and you're going to start to question reality beyond just like, I don't want to go to work today. You're going to really start to wonder why the fuck you're here at all. And when you start to wonder stuff like that, shit happens. And if you, alongside all of the drugs that people are taking, people have completely disconnected from their reality. And they need some way to kind of ground themselves and bring themselves back. Another thing I want to point out. So I was wondering, so I thought about recently, like, if I can't kill humans, what can I do? I can get pets off of Craigslist and just start killing them, right? And I was wondering, why is it that it would be illegal to kill a pet? It's not because people care about having pets, dude. It's not because people actually care about cats or dogs. It's because once you have crossed the barrier and you're able to kill a live animal, a live human is only a step up, right? This is why they say the first signs of sociopathy, or psychopathy, is the murdering of living things, because it actually is scary to kill something that's alive, even something as small as a cat. Now, we're not talking about insects who like aren't even on the same level. And if someone hits to the point where they're afraid of killing the insect, they're like the opposite of a sociopath. They're almost like a subhuman. Psychopaths are above human. Vegans are subhuman, or they're living dead almost, actually. So we have people are getting weaker, some people are getting mentally weaker, and other people are mentally checking out of this existence. Now, their compulsive addiction to sex is the only thing that's keeping them in line. So Megan Thee Stallion, for instance, is a comptroller or a mental or a brainwasher is what I call her. And she's able with her music to tap into women's sexual urges and get them to act out. And those women that act out and eventually record themselves, for instance, on TikTok, Megan Thee Stallion runs TikTok. So Megan Thee Stallion being on TikTok means that the women on TikTok who get to dance sexually to her music get to turn men on, and then what? You get your cyber girlfriends, your OnlyFans members, etc., keeping the men in line so that they don't become homicidal and just start killing everyone. It's actually quite brilliant. So if you're wondering what MK Ultra is doing, or what this mind control shit is doing, it's keeping people under control so our society does not go into disorder. It's controlled chaos. It's controlling chaos is the difference. Because everyone is seeing through the facade, right? That the presidency is just a mimicry of existence. It doesn't really mean anything, that we don't really have a say in what's going on. We're restricted by this, and that. People are even standing up to police officers. Now, once everyone gets the balls to take down police departments, we're pretty much done for. Because if there was no police, you know how much shit I would be doing right now? They only seem to stop me in my tracks. And they're not even good at stopping people if you play the long game. You can outsmart a police if you play the long game. Hello. That's what lawyers do. So, thank Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and all that WAP shit, because they're the ones that are keeping you from being raped and killed. Welcome to Mad TV.